Good evening. I'm going to make a quick video here live. It is approaching 10 p.m. New York time on Monday, March 2nd, 2020. We are now into March. So coming up in about 40 minutes, 10:30 New York time, I think it's 2:30 p.m. Sydney, Australia time, we have the RBA, Royal Reserve Bank of Australia, cash rate decision and statement. And taking a look at Forex Factory. Move my microphone here. Taking a look at Forex Factory. The market generally is expecting a 25-point cut. Currently at 0.75. They're expecting to drop it to 0.5. There are some of the analysts out there that still think that they will hold rates, but I think about 90% of the analysts are expecting them to cut rates at this meeting. And especially in light of the coronavirus and a tick up in the Australian unemployment rate that we saw last week and some other concerns. So we jump over here to Forex Source, which is a paid service I have. But if you look at this, again, there's a lot of concern, again, around the coronavirus and how that's going to impact the market, impact the Australian dollar going forward. And so basically what it's going to come down to is what's the tone going to be? I think the market's pretty much already priced in a drop in the interest rate, so that quarter-point drop may have a little initial spike down if that's the way it comes out. But I think that's already kind of been priced in. And so I wouldn't trade it just on that. Let's see what the statement says. If the RBA is relatively upbeat, and they basically, again, like it says here, have a plan to mitigate any of the economic slowdown from the virus, etc., then the Australian dollar will be supported. Conversely, if they cut the rate and then they're pretty negative on top of that, suggesting maybe that they'll have to cut it more or do quantitative easing, then that's going to continue to push the Aussie lower. But again, some of the analysts, do feel like they've that they're going to stand pat because they're happy with the drop that we've seen in the Australian dollar lately, and that they don't really need to cut. So, but I think, again, overall, I think the market's pretty confident that they're going to cut. So, of course, you can go to, you don't need a paid service like that. If you go to like Forex Live, you can scroll down and you can start. You can read some of these Australia headline stories about the rate cut that have been posted really just since this afternoon. And things continue to not look great. Building approvals are down. Export, import, GDP figures disappoint. China continuing to report more coronavirus deaths. Consumer confidence down a little bit. So you can just go right through here. And then, this is, some of the articles about what to expect from the decision in more detail. So if you haven't already, check that out. Quick look at the charts because I'm going to end this pretty quickly here. There's, from a technical standpoint, there's nothing really definitive that I'm seeing on any of these charts. So I think probably what's going to happen is we'll see a little bit of indecision and maybe potentially another push up potentially, or we may see a quick snap down and then the market recover. So I'm not going to be trading going into this. I am flat on all Aussie positions ahead of this news because there's nothing really clear. This is the Euro versus the Aussie, which as you can see is, ever since this ABC corrected, has just been going straight up. It has run into a little bit of resistance up here. I guess, the Aussie yen is a little tricky because, again, the yen has been strengthening against the coronavirus fears. So, you have to assume that as long as the coronavirus continues to be an issue, and especially if the RBA points it out, that this will continue to fall back. But again, guys, my opinion, at least from just looking at the charts, there's nothing obvious here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Aussie rallies a little bit off this, at least temporarily, just based on the patterns and not anything to do with the news. This is the pound versus the Aussie, which looked like it was going to break lower today. This was mostly on pound weakness and some Aussie strength early in the session that gave pretty much moved sideways the rest of the day. So this is kind of an interesting place for the pound versus the Aussie. If this is going to bounce and keep going up, or if we'll get a break below here, because there is a fundamental weakness in the pound still regarding Brexit and trade negotiations. So if the Aussie is, if the RBA is more hawkish than the market expects, then expect a lot of unwinding of the shorts. Aussie Kiwi, you guys know if you watched my videos last week, this was one that I was watching pretty close. It looked like it was going to break out, and then it came right back again. But you see where we are. If I zoom down a little bit here, we're basically sitting back at this trend line of support now. So, will this shoot up? So who knows? So again, guys, nothing clear technically, but I wouldn't be surprised if, at least in the short term, we see some Aussie strength. Maybe see an initial spike down to clear out the shorts when if they do cut the rate. But again, that's pretty much priced in. So you're going to have to stand pat and wait until there's some quick analysis on the actual rate decision and the statement, and see where they go from there. So that's the big news for tonight. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, guys, I'm not going to be trading going into it. I'm going to just kind of stand pat, I think, and see what's happening once the news comes out, and then I'll make a decision whether I want to trade it or not. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to leave it there. For the rest of the week, again, I reviewed this. Watch my video from Saturday about the upcoming week, but this is definitely the main event for this session. And again, just to summarize, they are expecting to drop rates a quarter point. That's pretty much been priced in. So assuming they do that, then the focus will turn to the statement, which a lot of times is where it is. And are they going to be more hawkish in their statement and just downplay the coronavirus fears, even though they're going to cut, in which case the Aussie will rally? Or are they going to be kind of Debbie Downers and say we're cutting rates and things are not looking good, and we'll have to stand by to take other measures as needed? And if they say that that's likely, then we'll see the Aussie continue to be under pressure. But again, from a technical point of view, not a real lot of clear evidence here about what it's going to do. So my initial gut is potentially a rally in the Aussie, at least in the short term, but I'm not telling you to go buy it. I'm not going to be doing anything until after the news comes out, and even then I might not if it's not clear to me. So I may just hold off and wait and see what it does during the London session tomorrow. So anyways, so that's it, guys. I will leave it there. Short and sweet. Hope you guys have a good night. Be sure you like the video, leave comments, subscribe to the channel if you're just finding it for the first time, and share the video. Like I said, hit the like button and subscribe as well, and I will talk to